Hello, everyone. I'm Dash, and today I'm talking with Dora Molina.
Hello.
Hello. Dora is a travel blogger, a model, and a social media influencer. I had the pleasure of meeting Dora at a coffee shop in London, and we connected. And I wanted to bring you on, Dora, onto Guy's Rich's series of blogs, as you share a real interest in health and wellness and supporting the environment as best as we can. Dora, you also struck me with your desire to find more meaning and growth in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And you recently come back from a self-development and volunteering experience in Nepal. So today I wanted to touch on some of your insights. So without further ado, welcome, Dora.
Hello. Well, thank you so much for this space to talk about this topic that I feel that it's really helpful for a lot of people. I feel we all have in common what's happening right now in the world in terms of the awareness for sustainability and for the after effects of social media. So when I went to Nepal, I did volunteering for 1 month. And then I did 2 months of meditation at one of the most famous monasteries in Nepal, which is called Kapan Monastery. It was a 7 days meditation and introduction to Buddhism and 2 days of silent meditation. So that was the second part. And then the third part, since I was already there, I had to go to the Himalayas and hike 4,200 meters high to Annapurna Base Camp. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Can you explain a little bit more about what the volunteering experience was?
When I was volunteering, I was volunteering teaching English. So English is my second language. But believe me, when you get there, you notice that any English practice is going to be a help. So I was there teaching English at rural schools. And we were staying with families that were local. It was literally, we're living in a village with ground floors, like not really cement or any technology. It was just little hubs. Some of them were sustainable, actually. You could see that they were built with mud or other materials. There were rice fields in the background. When you go to school, you have to walk or bike, but it's quite tough because it's not close. Any shoot you would take there, it's going to be destroyed afterwards. Yeah, and it was really, I don't know, awakening for me to see those kids going to school every day with so much enthusiasm. And like sometimes it was raining, like pouring raining, because I was there at the end of the monsoon and they were just walking with their umbrellas, and you could see that, I mean, they were like half wet, but they were still going to school. I don't know. It was nice.
So yeah, it sounds fascinating, and I kind of know the experience a little bit from growing up in Kenya. I want to touch on a few things you said in that piece there, because it gave a lot of insight into what I want to move on to now. Actually, the first thing you said, you obviously immersed yourself in the environment really well. So you definitely weren't glamping. You were
yeah. Oh yeah.
you connected with the family and you really embraced the culture. And most importantly, what you kind of mentioned there is lack of technology. So I actually want to touch on that, because you've obviously achieved a way to make your living via social media, namely Instagram, and through blogging. However, you've obviously recently cut off from that space for a few
yeah.
on this self-enlightenment journey. So I think the big question there really is, what inspired you to do that? And what, I mean, why? I know you said that you referred to an awakening before, but why did you want to do that? Move away from actually just effectively working for a few months and experience that.
Okay. When I was on the flight from Berlin on my way to Nepal, I deleted the app of all my social medias because I wanted to have an environment of the new learnings coming to me without any distraction from friends or family or social media friends. I think it was really important to just take that time off completely so you don't get any influence from anything else. It was important for me to take a break also from social media because I was doing it for 3 years consistently, like every day and posting almost every day, or at least trying to post every day. You start to live in a reality that is not the real reality. And I think disconnecting from all of that, it was a way for me to be in the present and like really train my brain to get stimulation from real life.
Yeah. I'm curious to find out what challenges you found initially. I mean, did you find it really difficult to go cold turkey? Were you leaping into your pocket to find your phone? I mean,
well, I mean, honestly, the first moment when I deleted the app, I wanted to download it again, but I couldn't because I was in a flight, right? So it was like, sorry, the phone was
fine, but I find that quite ironic because we're talking about the two realities.
I know.
Again, so it's fantastic.
No, but it was just, it was just crazy to find out that I wanted to download the app right after I deleted it. I realized that I was too attached to it then. And it was a really good decision that I decided to detach from it. So then I'm not associating myself. I felt like one part of me was gone. And that's crazy. I think that's also what gave me the opportunity to get the fulfillment from this other side of me that maybe I wasn't paying too much attention before. I felt so liberated. Since I arrived to Nepal, it was all smiles and adventure, and it was amazing.
Yeah, and we spoke about this the first time we met. You know, we had an extensive chat about elements of our society today that cause a lot of distraction. Technology is really meaningful to our generation. It's allowing our evolution. It's allowing us to grow in many ways. But as long as we have control over staying grounded and balanced as well, and not everyone has that, we're getting very wrapped up into this world. And I find that quite fascinating that you challenge yourself at that because, there's a common misconception that health and wellness is purely physical, what we need to do to go into the gym, health and fitness. But a lot of self-love and mental and spiritual work is required. And it's essential to be grounded and ultimately keep our mental health in equilibrium with our physical health. And there's often that saying that in order to be truly present and grounded, we need the mind, the body, and the soul to be in equilibrium. So I really enjoyed that you took that challenge upon yourself. And obviously you wanted to embrace a new culture and you wanted to be, there was some form of altruism in that as well because you embrace yourself in the volunteering experience. So touching on that as a whole, like the meditation, the volunteering, the lack of technology, the question I have for you is what was probably the most powerful experience for you out of the three? Or do you have like a specific scenario from those few months that you took home and really moved you?
I learned something from all of these stages, from the three of them, right? I think like the one that came to my mind first was the second stage of the meditation retreat at the monastery. For example, one of the things was mind, body, and soul. And we just went deep on a lot of Buddhist philosophy. It makes sense to me. I'm not a Buddhist now, but I really love their philosophy. And I think on the first day of silent meditation, a lot of the questions that I had that I couldn't answer in the city there, I was just getting all of this knowledge and all of these insights. And it was just beautiful because then I started to feel more myself. It was amazing. Yeah.
For the benefit of the audience, obviously you respect your privacy, but are you able to share an example of what's true to you now?
I think one of the things, for example, is that I want to base my blog less on body and sexiness because, I don't want to get off the topic, but I had an experience 3 years ago when I started to grow a little bit more on my Instagram with some Russian influencers that were telling me you have to do more bikini shots, you have to do lingerie, you have to be like body, a lot of fitness. And they show me some Instagram, some girls that just have sexy body pictures and all of that. And they're like, this is how it's going to work for you. It's going to work really well. And then for some time, I started to try to do it and everything. And it was working, yes. But at the same time, it's just, that's when I started to lose myself, right? Because it was not what I was meant to show on Instagram. One of the realizations that I had is that I want to make more quality content for positive reasons. For example, to promote more sustainability, to promote more good tourism, communities, philosophy, homestay concept, healthy tips, or much more positive topics that are relevant to this society right now that will be helpful for the young people that are hypnotized with all of the social media idealism.
Yeah. I love that you just said that word, actually, hypnotized. It's fascinating you said that. I mean, I've studied a lot of hypnotherapy, and there's obviously a myth about what hypnotherapists do as well, because people are always conscious that person's going to hypnotize me. But something I always learned is that in our everyday life, we are hypnotized. It's almost unhypnotizing yourself because we're barraged by subliminal messages on TV, on advert. There's hypnosis going on all the time. Ultimately, we always have the ability to accept messages or not. We have that power. But it's fascinating you said that, because the younger generations are growing up heavily influenced by prominent followings on social media. You've obviously developed a really extensive following base, and that's part testament to your aura and your work. I know that you're very dedicated to your work, but exactly as you said, it leads to potentially more responsibility now to produce that meaningful content. So it's obviously it's a good learning to have.
Yes.
You mentioned obviously sharing tips about more sustainability, and we've obviously touched upon the environment as well. Well, we met in a coffee shop, and I still think you were looking for your own utensils in the coffee shop. Because,
yeah, that's true.
And that's the sort of thing that's also quite powerful, and something that struck me about you, because we all have a responsibility now to help shape the environment. There's a lot more awareness about the plastic pollution and the damage that we're causing to the environment and to marine life. And I continuously read on some of these threads that people are always sort of citing that the onus should be on big businesses and governments to change the situation because they have greater control. And quite frankly, that's true. But at the same time, we all have, I think, a collective, to build on the collective energy and momentum towards this. I think we all need to encourage that wave of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
That's what I like to be about you, and what I want you to do really for our audience is basically share a bit more about maybe the habits that you have or the daily utensils you might feel that each one of us could be consciously using to make the small differences in protecting our earth.
At the moment, I am working on one habit, which is always have like a glass bottle with you or just a reusable bottle to fill your water. And sometimes when you are in a hurry and you forgot it, if you get a plastic one, then you just use that one as much as you can. So just reduce plastic from bottles of water. I think that's the number one for me right now. I'm really happy to see that, at least when I've been traveling in Mexico this last month, I've seen that there's a lot of awareness with the straw, which is it's a little thing, right? But the marine biologist found many turtles with straws in their nose. Almost every like coffee shop or juice store in the beaches of Mexico, they have this like no straw policy, which I thought that it was super nice. Now, when I'm starting to think of my future or like building something, I'm right now networking with people that build sustainable houses. That's something that really interests me. And I think it's crazy because even though it's supposed to be cheaper because it comes from the earth, there's not so many people that know how to build it, which is why the price is higher. And I think it shouldn't be that way. Then I think if it's natural resources, it should be more affordable. But perhaps when there's more demand, prices are going to level up.
So you're saying you're working with those people in Mexico, or?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well that's excellent. Thanks for sharing that as well. I know we've allocated a certain amount of time, and it's brilliant to have got you on for this period.
Thank you.
I'm happy to engage with you a bit further on, because we've obviously got a lot to talk about, and you're involved in a lot of projects. But something I just wanted to share for the audience, in case they didn't know, is you obviously mentioned your home is Berlin at the moment, and you referred to Mexico. but you are probably something we should have done at the start. You are Mexican, right?
Yes, I am Mexican, proud Mexican. Yes.
Do you have any final messages for our audience, or anything that you want to share about today, or living in the present, or something that you might have learned?
I think I could say mainly that it's always good to remind yourself two things when you are feeling a bit lost, perhaps. That one is that leave the past behind and live the present with positivism, not engage with the fruit of your work, to not be attached to it, to love yourself and to be proud of yourself, take care of your body. And second thing, always remind yourself of a purpose. What's your purpose? And then anything else that it might be distracting you, it's going to disappear.
There you go. And all said with a smile. So that thanks for sharing that with us. I keep getting this thought in my head, and it's a quote, but it's probably becoming one of my favorite quotes, because I've obviously gone through this journey, and it's a constant journey, because you always have to keep developing and working on yourself. The quote is, if you can find a way to live in the present, you will always be at peace, because if you're always focusing on the future, you're leading your mind towards anxiety, because you can't control it. And if you're living in the past, you're leading your mind towards depression, because you couldn't control it. Whatever's happened in the past has happened, and you can't control that. I mean, it's wise learnings. I'm grateful to have you on, and thank you, Dora, for sharing a piece of your journey.
So nice. I love talking about meaningful topics. I feel it fills my heart with light, and now I'm ready to start my day. Excellent. Really well.
You're starting your day there, and in London, where we're heading into the evening. So
good night and good morning to me.
That's the wonder. That's the wonderful part of technology, that we can do this. For anyone that comes on this and doesn't know about your work, I'll leave this to you. But you're able to be found on Instagram, correct?
Yes, I'm found as my name, Dora Molina, and my blog is www.doramolina.com. So it's really easy. I am still posting sometimes some a little bit sexy pictures, but not so much like before. Now it's more conscious and more true to myself, and I'm hoping that you can get inspired if you take a look.
I'll also leave the links to your Instagram and to your website as well. So if anyone wants to look at that or find out more about your work, feel free.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.